Hello, it's Simon Headley, and this is my video for you today. And what's just happened is a perfect example about what I just made a video about, which is that often the best laid plans, they don't work out how you think. Things happen on yourself, in the environment, in technology. And actually the recording I did didn't actually record. Now it's not a problem, I've had the opportunity now to make another video. Now sometimes in life you have that, you can have a reset, you can have a redo, a do-over. You can take what you did last time and give it another go. But sometimes there isn't that opportunity. It's one strike and you're out, or one shot. When you're painting that first mark on the canvas, you can't always go back to a blank canvas. But often in life we do have a brand new day. We have an ability to regrow and reset. So let's see if I can share again some of the things I think were useful, what I just talked about that unfortunately I can't play for you. And the first is that idea that often the plans we have are impacted by things we might never have predicted or didn't think were going to go on. I think we've all seen that. This is June 2020 right now, and the last 6 months so many things have gone on and happened in the world, in your local world, in your local life, and in the wider world that many of us would, you'd think it was a movie, like a magical fictional movie, if it wasn't the reality we seem to be living in. And for me, when I came outside, it was quiet, and suddenly, as I turn the recording on, the gardening starts next door and I start hearing other noises, so hopefully you can hear me clearly. But really what I wanted to share was this, which is that I've been noticing how the learning process, the cost, the energy required to learn, and the value we get from learning, so that process of what we put in and what we get out, it tends not to be a linear process. Whether it's learning how to cut up vegetables and fruit, how to prepare smoothies and fruit salads, how to stretch and grow, how to breathe and talk, use cameras and iPhones, learn to drive, build business deals, whatever it may be, the process of learning tends not to be a linear process. It's not like you can put 10% of the work in and get 10% of the benefit. It's not like that if if the course should have been £100, if I just spend 10 and do the first module, I get the benefit of a tenth. And that can seem quite sort of silly, it might seem obvious, but I think it's really important to consider. Because often it's not until you've actually really fully mastered something, you've been with that skill, you've used it and actually applied it live in the world, that you start to master it. And that can take sometimes decades, hours of practice, not one or two, but thousands of hours of practice. And often it's not until you have a few different skills combined that you really get the benefit. So for example, you might know how to press a photo button and take a photo, but you might not know how to share it. You might not know how to create a composition. You might not understand how to write great copy. You might not understand how to ask somebody for their opinion and get feedback and optimize the result. There are all these aspects of life and business which can seem very simple. They can seem like they're just something that you could pick up easily. But often there's distinctions and mastery that can take a while to get. And I've been noticing how some of the most useful, valuable skills I've valued this year, the lessons I've had, they weren't even things I knew I was going after learning. I hadn't had even the opportunity to go on the menu of life, I'd like to pick A, B, and C. And it wasn't they weren't available. It wasn't they weren't out there. It's just they weren't aware for me. They weren't on the menu that I had seen. It's like going to a restaurant and nobody tells you that you can turn the menu over, and on the other side of it there's a whole different dessert menu, there's a whole different appetizer menu, and maybe they have a different menu painted up on the wall. But I'm not talking about ordering food, I'm talking about how you yourself nourish you, how you learn and grow, and how you get to be the best you choose to be in the future. And right now we have, I think, that opportunity to really be with the reality that the environment is often stronger than we think, that the plans we had may not have ever been working really, but we've had a chance to see that at a whole different scale. So now the question comes, what can we learn, and how do we know where to prioritize that investment of time, energy and money? Who are the mentors we're going to allow ourselves to be mentored by? Who are the trainers and teachers we become students of? And I definitely think that becoming a student of life and choosing to step into that model of being a lifelong learner is so vital. In a few weeks we have our Sharing Our Solutions showcase, starting 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after, the 21st of June. And you can find out about that at sharingoursolutions.com. But besides of that, I'm aware that there's so much being shared, so much pain in the world, so many challenges, and so many amazing opportunities. And often we don't realize the long-term value of taking something on, completing it. And if you get halfway through a task, it's often the case you don't get half the results. It's like somebody says to you that, you know, the whole menu is going to cost this, and you go, I'll just have 1/10 of that or 1% of it. Maybe you don't put all your energy in or your focus in. You just put one little bit. And the challenge is, I think, often we think there's a linear output. We're going to put a little bit in, get a little bit out, and we think life works in this very linear or 2D fashion. And life doesn't. Life is very much a three-dimensional reality. You might see me on a flat screen here, but I've got depth. I can move backwards and forwards. I can turn, I can spin. We have these different dimensions of who we are. I might even start speaking in French. Je m'appelle Simon. Bienvenue, ça va. And these aspects of language we don't realize are there because nobody tells you you can do it. So if I start saying hajimashite, iglusujin desu ka? Or if I start saying lehoma, or nihaoma, or hala, or back to Latin, salve, and kaide, and I know that there are hundreds of languages and thousands of nuanced languages in the world, and yet so much of us, we don't realize what we don't know. And so the opportunity, I think, right now is to go, okay, what's an area I know I'd like to grow on? Or who's living a life that's inspiring me? Who's doing something that I go, there's something there that I could learn about, and get to see what's there that they're doing and resonate it, and start to learn how we might be able to share what's really working and explore together more powerful things. That's what I love about my creativity incubators that I work with and my partners. They stretch me, they cause me to think about things in different ways, and I value that, and maybe you do too. And if you're watching this video, I wish you an amazing June, an amazing year, and I hope to connect with you more in the world when we can. And until then, have a great day, keep in touch, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.